So one of the things that Jim Collins talks about in his business books, or at least in one of them, is this idea of being able to look at things really big picture and then also at a very granular small level as well. So essentially what we could say zooming in and zooming out. So if you've got a camera with a giant zoom lens on it, of course you can zoom in really tight on something and get a very intricate detail on it, or maybe you can pull it back out and get a really a wide, like if you comparing a telephoto lens, let's say, like a really long skinny lens or whatever, to a maybe the lens on your phone, for instance. Um, there's a dramatic difference in how much of the overall scene that you can see in one shot, and there's so many things in life, where it's so useful to be able to have to really zoom in and really see, really take a close look at things, right? Like you need people in your business or even in your family and relationships potentially. Like you need people that are interested in the details and interested in digging in and really going deep on things and really exploring the nitty gritty, right? And that's all can be very useful, very important. There's a lot of businesses, I think especially in the area of customer satisfaction and as well as in research and development, where they probably just don't have enough attention to detail, and it's actually hampering their business because the customer satisfaction, the thoughtfulness of the product, it's just not there because of how they're running their business. I think there's nobody assigned maybe to being nitty gritty, and I think the opposite is also true. This is maybe sometimes for the the founder who's a one-man show or who's starting the business or whatever, and it's like it can be so for the technician who's also trying to be a CEO. It can be so difficult to get away from all the nitty gritty and really look at the big picture. Keep the big picture in mind. Maybe there's a gnarly customer service issue, or maybe there's a long-term strategic decision on which product lines are we going to offer. And without that larger picture, the technician may get caught up in, well, what are the immediate costs, and exactly how much time will it take me right now to get this done, or do I have the capacity for it? And maybe he may be asking all the wrong questions because he's in technician mode, he's not in CEO mode, looking at the big picture, the long-term focus, and so it's so tremendously useful. Even just in your personal life, what you're doing with your life. I think it's so useful to have the bigger overall grand scheme of what do I want on my tombstone, versus what am I going to eat for breakfast, and both those things you could argue are very important. If you eat a trashy breakfast, you could start your day on a bad note. You could get all kinds of sugar cravings and die of obesity, and it could, there are so many things that the small things affect. But if you spend your life mired in the small things, if that's all you think about, you can miss really, really big picture important things. So I don't know, because I'm not, I guess, because I'm not a big hotshot executive. Not yet, anyway. But I suspect, going back to what Jim Collins was saying anyway, that great companies and great executives have the ability to strategically zoom in and strategically zoom out, and then also know who needs to be in what seat to make sure that the zooming in, the zooming out is happening, and help those people stay on track. Say, hey, you're in a zoomed in seat. You're on the nitty gritty. I need you to stay on the nitty gritty. Or, you're zoomed out. I got to keep you big picture. You're a manager here. You're not a grunter. You have to keep focused on the big picture. I imagine those are some of the conversations as a CEO that are vastly important, very important to have. And as a CEO, I imagine a lot of it is really big picture, really zoomed out. But I suspect some of the truly great executives have the ability strategically to zoom in and really hone in on the product and on the nitty gritty. So, what about you? Which one do you naturally default to, and which one do you think you need to get better at?